At this very moment, Poland, a pivotal nation in the heart of Europe, finds itself at a critical political juncture. In the wake of the 2023 general election, the country is engulfed in a whirlwind of strategic negotiations and backroom bargaining. The stakes are high indeed. Securing a majority in the Sejm and determining the nation's leadership. Will the Law and Justice Party under Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki hold on to power? Or will Donald Tusk, the former European Council President, Polish Prime Minister and leader of the opposition Civic coalition, steer Poland in a new direction entirely? And amid this political chess game, what decisive role will President Andrzej Duda play? The outcome of these developments is not just a national affair, it holds profound implications for Poland's role in Europe and beyond. I'm Jan with Prague Pulse, and this is a quick update on the post-election developments in Poland and what the options are for the immediate future. Before we start, don't forget to check out our previous video on Poland, which explains the results of the 2023 election in much more detail. And then don't forget to come back to this video as we explain what has happened since the vote. As a quick reminder, the right-wing conservative and populist PiS party managed to win the October 15 election in Poland. It has secured 194 seats in the 460-seat Sejm and has thus become the strongest party in the new parliament. However, it fell well short of its goal to gain a simple majority of seats on its own, which is something that the PiS had managed to do both in the 2015 and the 2019 general election. So, this time it is clear that the party needs a coalition partner to hold on to power. The Civic coalition, a broad coalition of opposition parties led by Tusk, came in second with 157 seats. That in itself would not have been enough to govern either. However, pretty much immediately after the polls closed, leaders of the Third Way and the New Left parties announced their readiness to form a coalition with Tusk. Together, they would have held 248 seats, a comfortable majority that would have put an end to the PiS rule in Poland. Tusk appealed to Polish President Duda to swiftly task him with forming a new government. However, on Monday, November 6th, in a televised address to the nation, President Duda declared that he would ask current PM Morawiecki of the PiS to form a new government instead. So what does this mean for Poland, given that Morawiecki is very unlikely to gather a majority of votes in the Sejm? Is Duda simply ignoring the results of a democratic election? Not really, no. It may be true that Duda does have a deep-seated loyalty to the PiS. Besides, he used to be a long-time party member, and in 2015 the party chose him from the backbenches of the European Parliament to become the party's official candidate for the presidency. However, Duda is correct in saying that entrusting the leader of the strongest party with the task of forming a new government after an election has become the norm in Poland. After every single democratic election so far, Polish presidents have done the same. Duda claimed that both Morawiecki and Tusk assured him that they would be able to put together a majority, and so, according to him, the question of who will be the country's new PM is still very much open. From that perspective, Duda's actions appear justifiable. Indeed, Morawiecki has confirmed that he would try to convince the other opposition parties, mainly the centre-right agrarian Polish People's Party, to cooperate with him. However, the party, itself part of the Third Way coalition, confirmed that they would have no interest in propping up a PiS government. In fact, the opposition signed a coalition agreement of their own on Friday, November 10. So, any attempt by the PiS to remain in power appears to be doomed, and by nominating Morawiecki anyway, the opposition claims that the president is only wasting everyone's time. Still, Duda is remaining strictly within the bounds of the Polish constitution, and nothing indicates that he could try to disregard or even change the result of the election. On the contrary, he has, for instance, named a representative of the opposition, the Marshal Senior, the Speaker of the Sejm presiding over the first session of the new parliament. That would most likely not have happened had Duda decided to block the creation of an opposition-led government entirely. Given all that, what's next for Poland? Well, President Duda has also announced that he would summon the new Sejm on Monday, November 13. According to the Polish constitution, Morawiecki then has 2 weeks to present a new government to Duda, and so he has until November 27 at the latest. Then, the president names him the new PM, and then Morawiecki has another 2 weeks to ask for the confidence of the same, so until December 11 at the latest. If the confidence vote fails, which is likely at this point, the Sejm then has another 2 weeks to choose a PM from among its ranks. In all likelihood, the Sejm would then choose Tusk, and the president is then obliged to appoint him as prime minister. Finally, Tusk would then have another 2 weeks to ask for a confidence vote. Ultimately, a new Polish government should not be realistically expected until the end of January 2024. Why is Duda delaying the process so much, given that Tusk's takeover of power seems inevitable at this point? Well, most likely he is still loyal to the PiS and, crucially, to its voter base. The extra time that Duda afforded the PiS will also be helpful in securing party loyalists in important positions of power. Second, given that PiS party leader Jarosław Kaczyński is expected to retire sooner rather than later, and with Morawiecki possibly humiliated by the less than ideal election result of the PiS, Duda may be eyeing a future career in the party. His mandate as president will end in 2025, and he may still want to remain active in politics. His sympathetic approach to the PiS may help his electoral fortunes in the future. In any case, the delaying tactics used by Duda do not bode well for the future Polish coalition. Given the strong veto that the Polish president possesses, as discussed in our previous video, there are many threats on the horizon for Tusk's new government and its ambitious plans. If you want to stay in the loop on what they are, be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It really does help our channel grow and allows us to bring you even more in the future.